The Fox, the Fair, and the Invention Scare. Kirk, welcome. Thanks for being here.
Man, I love your space here. I love these guitars. I love
it's fun.
Pat Gray rocks.
It's kind of like my parents' basement sort of feel.
It is.
You know, although my parents didn't have a basement like this, but if my parents had a basement, it would have looked like this.
But the creepiest part is the congressman in the hoodie that's peering over Nancy Pelosi's shoulder.
Oh, well, hang on a second. He's also behind you as well.
Yeah, so be careful.
Oh, my goodness.
We got
He's
John
everywhere.
Fetterman's face everywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
So tell us about your new adventure. I mean, this is beautiful. You got to look at the inside of this. It is so colorful. Kids will be drawn to this immediately.
This is the answer to some horrifying things taking place in our culture with regard to children. So real quick backstory. Last Christmas, I wrote a book with Brave Books called As You Grow, teaching children about love, joy, kindness, gentleness, faithfulness, self-control. I wanted to do a public story hour at a public library, and I was denied by 50 woke libraries that previously held drag queen story hours for kids.
Unreal.
Yeah, and including, do you remember the one with the horns, the drag queen with the horns in was that New York City?
That was
I
like
think it was New York.
the OG drag queen person, but
I mean, frightening, and was reading stories to 3- and 4-year-olds, but they wouldn't let you do
But
that.
they wouldn't let me come in because it's all about diversity, equity, and inclusion, you know.
Yeah, right.
So I pushed back, reminded them that we live in America, we have a constitution, you cannot discriminate against viewpoints, especially religious viewpoints in America, and I would defend my constitutional rights in court against them. They reversed course, and when I showed up at these libraries that they said had no interest in the messaging of this little book, 3,000 parents, 2,000 grandparents, hundreds of children were all packed into 6 stories of the Indianapolis Downtown Library, and they were singing songs and holding their own story hours in the aisles between the books because they couldn't get into the reading room.
That's great.
And we found this in D.C. and L.A., I released another book called Pride Comes Before the Fall about humility, released it on June 1st of Pride Month. That was fun.
Oh, okay.
And we released that at Seattle Public Library. And now this is the third one, and it's all about loving your enemies. So I'm trying to give kids and parents a different track to run on than I am powerful, it's all about me, love myself, I can be any gender I want, and my parents are queer phobic and dinosaurs and don't know anything and America sucks. No. We live in the greatest country in the world, and you're actually here for a reason, on purpose, I believe, and that there is a moral code that leads to your blessing and protection and relationships and identity and purpose, and life can be wonderful. And we need to take back that sacred responsibility of teaching these things to our children.
I love that message.
Yeah.
We homeschooled for 23 years, and we would have killed to have stuff like this available to us at the time.
That book
so
is
great.
The Fox, the Fair, and the Invention Scare.
Yeah. There's something else that really interesting happened. The American Library Association, the national organization that gets federal grants to direct libraries, called us out by name and taught libraries how to deny us from doing story hours in community libraries.
That's
crazy.
crazy.
You know what boards have done? Boards have gotten together and fired their librarians in their community libraries and replaced them with those who really do represent the values of the community. So this is great.
Yeah.
Right now, we're taking the fight, though, to the head of the snake. What we're doing now is saying to ourselves, how do these books with sexually explicit, pornographic, gender-bending, confusing, critical race theory infused books get into these public libraries and public schools for children to where parents are losing their mind at the school boards? We've all seen the videos. Who's putting it in there? Right. Guess who it is? We found the wolf in the sheep's clothing, Scholastic Books.
Wow.
Scholastic.
That was such a staple when I was a kid. Man.
Absolutely.
Been around for 100 years, billion-dollar company, over 100,000 book fairs every single year. They are the 1,000-pound gorilla in the space. the world's largest producer of children's material, and they're lacing their pages with pornographic, obscene material that even Facebook will not allow us to post in the feed because it violates their obscenity laws. And that's for adults, not even pointing out that this stuff is for minors.
Yeah. Is this from Scholastic?
Yes, it's called Welcome to St. Hell. That's one example. Marketed to 8 to 12-year-olds. That's second graders to sixth graders.
Like trans teen misadventure.
That's right. And in it is nudity, sex acts, girls with their hands down other girls' pants, showing their pubic hair, and an instruction manual on how to use hormones to turn your female sex instrument into a hairy 2-inch willy. I'm saying this because I have a PDF for people to download to see that I am not using hyperbole. This is not exaggeration. This stuff is being pumped into your kids through the libraries and the public school system. And not just that, but they're grooming your littles to explore the world of drag. And all of this while they teach your children how to clear internet history searches and hide this from you so that they can essentially disciple your children in the ways of Karl Marx.
And they're so good.
And secular humanism.
With manipulating the language, calling it family friendly.
Right. And then talking about banning books when we object to it. We're banning books. It's ludicrous.
What we want is to protect children from
and I thought we all agreed on
and
that.
Obscenity and harmful things.
We did at one point.
Yeah, society.
We don't anymore.
Yeah, and it's because we've moved the goalpost in terms of the moral standard. Yeah. Who is in charge of your kids? Is it you or is it the government? We say us because we're based on a set of Judeo-Christian values that says God gives kids to parents. But in China, that's not the case.
No.
In North Korea, that's not the case. And who says? Who's the authority? Well, if you're going to let it be the state, I'm sorry, but get ready. Because everything that you held dear is going to leave. So the good news is we still have enough liberty in this country to read books to our children, pull them out of government indoctrination camps, educate them, teach them about the Constitution and the values that lead to their blessing.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, you may not know this answer, Kirk, but it's just stunning to see you reveal that Scholastic is doing what they're doing in these schools and getting direct access to the kids. Do we know how long this has been going on? Was this, and I'm sure the answer is yes. Do we know, was this a planned attack? Like, did they say, hey, there's where we're going to launch this attack into the kids' minds and hearts?
I don't know exactly the beginning of it, but here's some things that we do know. We know that the former CEO of Scholastic has now doubled down because they originally pulled this stuff because of the pushback from parents and said, okay, we're going to put this in an optional package for your book fair. If you want the LGBT race, gender stuff, we'll give it to you as and they flipped because they want it mainstream everywhere. So they apologized, doubled down and said, we're getting this everywhere all the time.
Oh my gosh.
And when you look at who are the biggest shareholders of this publicly traded company, Scholastic, guess who it is? Take a guess. BlackRock and Vanguard.
Surprise.
So the ESG, DEI is all coming down from these ginormous companies. And the push,
unreal.
At the end of the day, what the effect is, you sexualize children when they're young, you separate them from their parents.
Yeah.
And that's the goal. Hitler said it. He said, I don't care if you disagree with my ideologies. I have your children in my schools, and in 40 years, you'll be gone, and this is the only community they'll ever have known.
Wow, was that Hitler or Woodrow Wilson?
Yeah.
Sound very similar.
So the public school system is just right there, and Scholastic is just following along the path of what Horace Mann wanted from the very beginning.
Incredible.
I mean, you can't trust anything on its face anymore.
So here's the great news. We've replaced the monopoly that Scholastic has with SkyTree Book Fairs. Right. SkyTree is a nonprofit. I've partnered with them. I'm on their advisory board now, and we've vetted over 500 books, and we have 700 public schools and private schools that are already replacing Scholastic Book Fairs with SkyTree Book Fairs, and they're great books for kids like we grew up with. And people can go to the website to download the PDF with all of this lewd, obscene material, page numbers, book titles, show it to your parent friends, your principals, and your teachers so that they can be aware of what's in the books, and then insist that your school or library replace the book fair week or weekend with SkyTree Book Fairs instead of the harmful Scholastic Book Fairs.
This is so great because, as parents, we feel overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We feel like there's nothing we can do about this. I mean, we're just being bombarded with it every single day.
But there is.
But there's a way out.
That's right. Parents have been holding story hours in their public libraries with their kids. We had over 330 libraries on one day this summer with over 46 states participating. And now you can bring a wholesome, helpful book fair to your school or to your library. Just go to SkyTreeBookFairs.org. Download the PDF so you can see it with your own eyes. I didn't believe it till I saw it myself. But I mean, there's teen girls showing off their breast removal scars to their friends and saying, while we're in bed together, no, don't go inside. Treat me like I'm a guy.
Oh, gosh.
Stay outside.
Oh, man.
And these are for minors.
Man.
We're going to link to that website, SkyTreeBookFairs.org, through Pat Unleashed on Twitter if folks want to check that out later.
And then, Kirk, how do people get a hold of your book if they want?
Yeah, if you want to get a hold of the Fox, the Fair, the Invention Scare, or any of the other Brave books, go to bravebooks.com, bravebooks.com. And what I really love about Brave is they're a company that has created something where it's a book club where every month they'll deliver a new book with a pro-God, pro-America value to your front door. And the kids love the stories. You can see they're beautifully illustrated. And in the back, they've got little family lessons that reinforce the moral of the story around the kitchen table. So, bravebooks.com.
Thanks for all you do.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Because
appreciate you guys.
so important. Really, really good. And it gives us hope.
Yeah.
That we can see some light at the end of the tunnel here. We see so much evil and so much wrongdoing and so much attack on our children that it's nice to see somebody working the other side of this. It's great.
Well, and what you're doing is so important too. And let me just encourage all of us. There have been times of greater darkness in the past. We're not living during the Roman Empire, guys. We're not living during the under the rule of the Egyptians or the Babylonians. And times of awakenings have always happened when things seemed the worst. Moral decline, spiritual apathy, political corruption, and economic collapse tend to spur great awakenings and revivals of right values. Because we realize that we're screwed if we don't turn things around. And I think we're about due for another one.